Yeah, episode 3. Um, I would agree that was the most emotional because this is the episode where you find out that the kid, the boy, has anger management issues for sure, and he is been pushed. This is also where you kind of find out that he was treated poorly by not only the girl that he killed, but also other girls in the school, and through social media that he was called ugly, that he was whatever, insufficient in many ways. They kind of ripped his masculinity apart. And the counselor, the psychologist that was interviewing him to report to the court, was pulling all this out, and he was becoming increasingly more agitated as episode 3 went on, and had a multitude of outbursts at the counselor, and there was a real tension there,
Yeah,
because
this
she
goes.
was, first of all, she was a woman.
I was about to say this goes back to everything that I just said. So he has this distorted idea of masculinity
Yes.
already in his mind, and he's literally insulted that this woman is questioning him.
Yeah, for sure. Yep, that's right. So episode 3 was basically in a room, was an interview, and this is where you found out. I mean, at that point, you knew, okay, he did it. If there was any question before that, you were like, oh yeah, he did it, and he was still denying it. Like, so for those of you that did not watch, he basically never totally admitted to doing the crime until, well, I mean, in theory, he never admitted to doing the crime, but we'll get to that in episode 4. But in episode 3, he was still in, quote, denial phase, although it became obvious to the viewer that he did it.
Well,
And you started also seeing why.
he didn't say he did it, but he did say he did it in a way.
Yes.
Because he said basically, I could have touched her and done anything I wanted to her.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I mean, it leaves room for him to say, I walked up on the body, but
Yes.
how would you have been able to do that? Because you just killed her.
Right. Yeah.
And that's really when she had shock and sort of like fear most of the interview, but that's when she started to have disgust.
Yes.
Because he felt that there was some kind of honor. He felt like there should be some kind of understanding in his reasoning and logic for doing what
Yep.
he did. And I guess that's what makes you crazy. He
Yep.
actually really felt like there was something valid about what he was saying, and it was really disgusting.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
he delivered it. You felt like he was that kid.
Yeah, exactly. And you could, and she did a great job of acting as well, because she legit looked petrified.
And that's what I'm saying about these A-level performances, because I can see a lot of people having that job and they would have been a lot more demonstrative in their reactions and stuff. She acted like an actual professional trying
Right.
to do their job and not reveal their emotion,
Yes.
but show the audience that she's having that moment.
Yep.
So yeah,
It was amazing. Yep. For
I,
sure.
I believe that her and him, she's going to get a supporting nod and he's going to get a leading nod for everything that it qualifies for.
Mhm.
And I think he's gonna rack up. That little boy is gonna rack up. I hope this is not the crescendo already of his career.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So let's go on to what I thought was an interesting episode. Are we going on to episode 4?
I just wanted to mention some of the things that were revealed, like the message of the whole thing is that the youth today, they have many identity crisis, and we're talking more about males, But there's a big thing going on. We've been discussing it when we talk about politics. The youth today have these identity crises,
Mhm.
and defining masculinity has been one of the biggest ones now.
Oh,
That's like at the top of the heap,
yeah.
and it's often butting heads with society, telling you what you feel naturally. They're telling you it's toxic.
Yep. And we've talked about this even when we were talking about politics and the bro culture. And we talked about, with podcasts, listen to Joe Rogan and who's tuning into that, and the, the juxtaposition between, say, the feminism movement and the males. And then you saw even during this election with, Kamala Harris and the angst involved with this, and there's so this, and then, and Phil, you and I have talked about social media at great length, and a lot of this comes from our society today because you can find out information super quick. You can do major damage to somebody psychologically through words. And what is social media? You can convey words really easily and really quickly.
And this gets to, did you catch on to what was the final straw? What was the one singular thing that made him do it?
I thought it was,
It was the Instagram post
yeah, the
calling him
Instagram.
but it wasn't just the post, it was calling him an incel.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm an old man, but from my understanding, that's the top that's worse than a woman calling you a bitch.
Right. Yeah.
That's supposed to be the worst thing for these young people now. And
Yep. Yep.
do you know what an incel is? Because I had no idea.
Yeah. I mean, I'm waiting for you to read the definition because I know you got it up on your computer.
Absolutely. Uh, a heterosexual man, incel is defined as a heterosexual man who blames women and society for their lack of romantic success. So instead of them taking on the weight that maybe I'm unattractive, or maybe I don't have the gift of gab, or maybe I have a micro penis, whatever it is,
Right.
uh, they look, and that's a thing that goes beyond this. Most people look for an excuse. Most
Yeah.
people are not
Yeah.
accountable.